Burgers are an instant favorite, and when combined with cheese and salsa, I don't think they can get any better. So here's presenting an awesome vegetable cheeseburger, the Bombay Chef style. Let's first begin with one of those simple components, which is caramelized onions. For this, I'm heating a pan on high flame, and while that's happening, let's start slicing an onion. I'll add in some oil and make sure this reaches smoking point. The oil is heated, let's slide in the onions. Saute the onions till they turn a little translucent, and once that happens, I'll add in the sugar. This will give it some sweetness and also help them caramelize well. Mix this well and make sure the sugar coats all the sides of these onions. At this stage, I'll also add in some salt. Very little, not too much. Make sure you keep scraping the pan to remove these caramelized juices. Scrape it back with the onions and keep mixing this till they turn nice and golden brown. This entire process of caramelizing needs to be done on moderate flame with constant stirring. Once it gets this color, lower the flame and add in some white vinegar. Quickly stir this, and now let's add in half a cup of water. Allow this to simmer till the onions are nice and soft and the entire mixture has dried up completely. This can take anywhere between 3 to 4 minutes for this quantity. Now that you see the mixture has completely dried up and your first step is ready, which is caramelized onions. Reserve this and allow it to cool to room temperature. While the onion mixture is cooling, in the same pan, let's add in some oil, and while this is heating, let's chop an onion finely. The onions straight go in the pan. A quick mix, and while this is turning translucent, I'll add in some cumin seeds, along with ginger, garlic and green chilies which have been crushed. Let's give this a quick mix and make sure this is stirred well for roughly around a minute. Roughly after a minute or so, I'll add in peeled and grated carrots along with green peas. These green peas have been boiled and strained. Saute this for a minute or so on moderate flame and make sure all the moisture is released and dried out. Once this is sauteed and ready, I'll start adding in the powder spices, garam masala, turmeric powder, red chilli powder, coriander powder, and finally some salt as required. Give this a mix. Fry this on moderate flame for a minute or so and make sure the raw smell goes away. It's been a minute or so. Off goes the flame and allow this to cool completely. While that's happening, let's start making the salsa. For this, I need some boiled yellow corn, which I'm going to take on a cutting board and run a knife roughly through this. This is just to make sure that these get roughly cut and the salsa gets a nice and prominent flavor of the yellow corn. I'm going to transfer this in a mixing bowl. And now let's move on to cutting the other ingredients. In this case, a ripe tomato. Along with this, a fresh jalapeno. Well, if you cannot lay your hands on these chilies, you could also use some green capsicum or any sharp piquant chili. Along with this, some fresh coriander. All this goes in the mixing bowl. To this, some fresh lemon juice, and finally to this, some salt, and mix this nicely and evenly well. With this, your colorful, beautiful looking salsa is ready. Keep this to chill in a refrigerator and let's continue with the next steps. The patty mixture has cooled completely. Mix this with boiled and grated potatoes, and with the help of your fingers, give this a nice and even mix. Well, I'd added some salt while boiling the potatoes. Hence, I'm not adding extra salt, but nevertheless, do check this before moving on to the next step. Take a handful of this patty mixture and press it down in the shape of a patty. Make sure you press these on all sides like these. The size of the patty should be a little smaller than the size of the burger bun. Similarly, let's start making the others. The patties are shaped and ready. Now let's coat these in breadcrumbs, but before that, let's create a coating with some wheat flour and corn flour. For this, I'm taking some wheat flour, some corn flour, a little salt, and a little water to create a batter. Mix this nicely and make sure this mixture is lump-free. The batter is ready. Now, let's pick the patty nicely and gently and roll this in this batter. Make sure you coat the batter on all sides of this patty. Lift this gently and dip it in the breadcrumbs. In this case, I've used fresh breadcrumbs. Turn it around, dab it nicely, and roll it on all sides. The patties are crumbed and ready. Allow this to be in the refrigerator for 10 to 15 minutes. The vegetable patties are chilled and ready. Now let's begin frying them. For this, I'm taking some oil in a pan. The oil is heated up. I'll place the patty very gently. These patties need to be fried on high flame because the mixture that way is completely cooked. All we need to do is get it a nice golden brown color. The patties are fried and ready. Just drain the excess oil and transfer this on a plate. While the patty is still warm, I'll place a sliced cheese on top of that. And here comes the last component of the burger, which is the bun. I'm going to slice this horizontally, like so. Just make sure while you're doing that, you turn the bun around, like this. To this, I'll be applying some butter. Once this is done, let's heat the pan on high flame. The pan is heated up. Let's toast the burger bun. The buns are toasted. Let's remove these. And now the final component, which is sliced cucumber. Now that all the components are ready, let's start assembling the vegetable and cheeseburger. On top of this, some mayonnaise. Along with this, some tomato ketchup. On top of this, I'll place some assorted lettuce, which I've nicely cleaned and refreshed. On top of this, I'll place the vegetable patty. On top of this, some caramelized onions. Top this up with some slices of cucumber. And top this up finely with some corn and tomato salsa. Finally, the cap of the burger. And finally, the universal favorite, potato chips. But in this case, I'm adding in some purple potato chips. So here you have your veg cheeseburger. Do enjoy.